Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species, Season 2, Episode 5. Already.
Episode 5.
Yes. Last week I said Episode 3, but the week before I also said Episode 3.
Oh.
Which means there was no 4, so today's 5.
4 is the lucky number.
But for any of you who are longtime listeners, you'll know that I never know what episode it is.
Yeah, I'm funny. It's funny that you keep saying it because none of your scripts seem to have a title on them. So I don't know how you can keep track of it.
Sometimes I don't keep track of it, hence why I screw it up.
Perfect.
Yeah. So today is Canada Day.
Yeah, it is.
It won't be when you listen to this because we are pre-recording this episode.
And another episode.
And because Ethne's gone and I'm gone and we're gone and it's summertime. And so we're trying to get a few of these recorded and pre-scheduled to come out. But today is Canada Day. We just got home from a Canada Day party. If any of you don't know, Ethne is Canadian.
Woohoo!
I am American. Canada Day is July 1st. It is a nice little hors d'oeuvre. Did I say that right? That sounds funny.
Hors d'oeuvre?
Hors d'oeuvre.
Mm-hmm.
In preparation for the 4th of July.
I see.
Yes, the main course just coming in a couple days.
Yeah.
But we did have a wonderful time. We got invited over to another fellow Canadian who lives here in Spokane.
And that was so nice.
And we did fun things.
Mm-hmm. Just had a good time.
Yeah. So happy Canada Day to all of you Canadian listeners out there.
Yeah.
So let's see. We reported last time on the Saturday version of Hoop Fest. Last week's episode. We hadn't performed the Sunday version of Hoop Fest yet, but now that's in the books as well.
It was great.
It was great. We played well. We didn't win it all. My team, that was fine. We went undefeated on Saturday. We were winning our first game on Sunday when my good buddy broke his nose halfway through the game. And that ended his Hoop Fest tournament. And then we ended up losing that game in overtime. And then kind of just were mentally, I think, done after that. The rest of us were kind of like, yeah, let's just go out, have some fun. And if we lose, we're good at this point. Yeah. And that's what we did. But our son who was playing, who didn't win any games on Saturday,
won all
of his games on Sunday. And they do a fun loser bracket for the teams that lose your first 2 games. So they won that. And when you win the loser bracket, you get Loser King t-shirts.
Yeah.
So they got to go to the award podium and stand up and hold a big sign that said Loser Kings.
Yep. And then also got a cool, funny shirt.
It was a cool shirt.
Yeah, it was really cool. You have to it doesn't say anything. And then you match the 2 dots and kind of fold it in half. And then it says Loser Kings. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
It was pretty.
Torrential rain.
Yeah, torrential rain.
Yep.
My court was right next. So there's a million sponsors and vendors all over. And the whole town gets turned into 3-on-3 basketball courts.
I mean, it's so fun.
And my court was right next to the Takis, like the Mexican potato chip. I guess it's not a potato chip. I guess it's actually a corn chip. But either way, the
like
chip.
A tortilla chip.
Vendor, and they had prizes and stuff all weekend. And so our kids won like 50,000 of the same Takis prizes. Like weird blue hair and hats and stickers. And then they went over and played other games and won all sorts of headbands and wristbands and arm sleeves and basketballs and footballs and soccer balls. And we got a lot of free swag.
So much free swag. Those boys.
Our couch is covered in balls that they got.
Yeah, and they loved them. And then
so it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. And then today and tonight they just played badminton, and now our youngest wants a net, which we had a net last year. And he didn't really seem, but he's like, but the problem is I need someone to play with me all the time. So we just need to, keep our surrogate grandparents.
Who played with them tonight?
Yeah, with us at all times, I guess.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
I know. That would be so cool, though.
So, anything else going on with you?
With me?
No.
Oh, so many things. I'm excited to see the whole gang up in Canada. We don't get to see the whole gang very often. We try our best about once a year, but it doesn't happen often.
It's a big gang.
It's a big gang. Lots of little peoples.
It's a gaggle.
It's a gaggle. But no, I mean, just so busy the next couple weeks. So it'll be good.
It will be good.
Yeah.
Cool. Any thoughts on tonight's topic that you would like to pontificate about?
Any thoughts on today's topic? Well, I don't know what it is.
Correct.
Any thoughts on it? I hope it's like happy.
It is happy. So last week's was a little morose.
Morose. It's a good word.
Yeah. A little heartbreaking, a little sad. And sometimes these episodes are hard to record when you're recording them at like 11 at night after a busy day. And then they're sad.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this is really tiring. So this one is much more upbeat.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I kind of need that.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need some fun ones.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's a lot easier to find stories of tragedy than it is humor.
Humor or weird. But even just strange or bizarre doesn't necessarily have to be like sad.
That's
you know?
true.
Like the Japanese crazy loud lady.
Right.
Like it's not like sad, but it's sort of just
That's
weird.
true.
And
Yeah,
so,
we don't do a ton of sad ones.
No, but
Sometimes we do big disasters or things.
yeah.
Sometimes they have weird, like twists or quirks to them, like the one cruise that sank in sewage.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's unique.
Gross. It's a really gross one.
Yeah, it was really gross.
One of my favorite ones still I always often think about is the Jobs.
Really?
Yeah. I find myself thinking about the Jobs.
One of our sons came up to me today and said, hey, Dad, I have an interesting job that I'm sure you could find cool stories about. He thought like a CSI investigator. There's probably cool stories out there.
There's probably there's millions of shows about CSI jobs. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we're not going to talk about, I don't even remember what you said now. Whatever that was, it wasn't right.
Okay, well.
What did you say?
I don't remember.
Did you say anything?
I didn't. I just said I hope it's something happy.
Oh, that's why I can't remember because there wasn't anything there.
Yeah. I didn't say anything specific.
Well, it is going to be somewhat happy.
Well, good.
But you're not going to know that based on the question I'm about to ask you.
Is it something about hockey?
No, still no hockey.
Maybe someday.
Maybe. All right. Are you ready for this question? You're going to have to dig way down into your soul for this.
I will try my best.
Ethne, have you ever been on a cruise?
Stop. Oh, okay. Actually, we got a new car, and we might have said this already, but we ended up going with a Kia Carnival for a myriad of reasons. For some reason, minivans are pretty coveted, which I never thought I would ever say those words out of my mouth. But it is. My friends were looking at it real quick. This was a long time ago, and they were like, "Oh, it's a Carnival," and I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Wait, isn't that the cruise line that you couldn't ever go on your cruise?" I was like, oh, didn't even think about it.
So now you want to sell it?
So now I'm all like, just bothered.
Well, maybe now it'll give you, instead of being bothered by it, it'll give you a better connotation to the word.
Oh, that's true.
You could choose to make it a happy
True.
spin.
I never had thought about it before. Like, for some reason, it had just escaped my mind. So, no, I have never been on a cruise. I've been on like a scuba boat out in the ocean, like a day cruise or like an evening toga party cruise at Wazoo. Was that Wazoo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, not a real cruise.
Me either. I was going to go, and this girl I was with at the time busted her eyeball the day before.
Actually, it was busted 2 years earlier. She just didn't know it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
In a car accident.
But that's no worries. It's all good now. Well, your eye's not all good now, but the situation's all good. So we're actually going to talk about Carnival today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, maybe they'll listen and they'll actually refund our money.
Maybe. So if you went and you looked through Carnival's fleet of all of their ships, you wouldn't be able to find a ship by the name of the Triumph.
Okay.
But there used to be. But the ship hasn't really had anything triumphant happen to it.
Okay.
Rather than the contrary, it's had lots of untriumphant things happen to it. So its name was changed to the Sunrise. But the Triumph has had its fair amount of issues. And we're going to discuss a few of them here.
Interesting. So they kept the ship, just changed the name?
They did.
How do you solve the problems?
You spend a lot of money.
Okay. Interesting.
You put some pretty makeup on it.
Oh.
And some fresh paint.
Some eyeliner. And
Yeah.
a little bit of lipstick.
Yep.
Okay.
Just glam it up a little bit.
Interesting.
So for starters, we're going to go back to 2012.
Oof. That was a long time ago. Didn't even know you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I was
I think we had almost 3 kids by then. Oh, 2 kids. Just 2.
Just 2.
Just 2. I hope you knew me.
What month of 2012? Did you say?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
January. I'm going to tell you now.
Okay.
January 13th.
Okay. Well, we didn't have 2 kids. We only had 1.5.
Yeah, right after your birthday here.
Yeah.
So the ship, the Carnival Triumph, got arrested.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
How do you arrest a ship?
That's a great question.
Is that the term for like a ship in, but they're allowed in foreign waters, but like a ship in the wrong kind of waters that they're not supposed to be in?
Well, it was in Galveston, Texas. So probably.
But I mean, like, let's say the Cucanusa border, like an American ship crosses into Canada. Would they be considered arrested if they like were caught on the wrong side of the border? Is that like a term for like a boat that has, you know what I mean? Like escaped? Or
Yeah.
Or do you-
I don't think so. I think you can sail in and out of territorial waters.
Huh. So I don't know
You're
what this
good
means.
until you land on the land port.
Oh, you're saying you think it's okay to be in those waters?
mhm.
Would the Navy agree with you?
I think so.
Huh.
But if anything happened, you'd be under the jurisdiction of said waters.
But like, where do you draw the line?
They're drawn out there in the middle of the ocean and stuff.
Oh, okay. I really don't know what it means to arrest a cruise ship.
No. And it's probably not at all what you think, and at the same time, exactly what you think. So it all goes back to January 13th of 2012.
Okay.
There was a 7-year-old boat, totally different, by a company called Costa Cruises. And this was a vessel called the Costa Concordia. And it was on a cruise going around the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, I want to do that so bad.
When she had a little bit of an issue, she deviated from her planned course and ended up sailing closer to an island than they were planning, struck a rock formation, and the boat got stuck and partially sank. And it kind of was sitting on its side unevenly on this underwater ledge. Now, I actually remember this happening. It was a big deal.
It's weird to me that you're referring it to like she did it on her own. Well, first of all, someone is driving this boat.
No, she didn't do it on her own.
She's not alive.
No, you're right. She's a boat.
Yeah.
A ship.
But are they always referred to as she's?
It seems like that.
Yeah, it does, huh?
Yeah.
Like when they name them and stuff? Okay. All right. So somehow
There's a ship in the Mediterranean.
there's a ship in the Mediterranean that's kind of sunk, partially hit the island, but then there's a connection between that ship somehow and
the Carnival Triumph
The
getting
Carni-
arrested in Texas.
this is
Yes.
so strange. Okay.
So there was a 6-hour rescue effort to try to get all these people off this cruise ship in Italy.
Oh, Italy? I think
Well, Mediterranean. They were off of Tuscany.
Oh, Tuscany. Okay.
But ended up 33 people died.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. 27 passengers, 5 crew, and
But they only partially sunk. It's just like they couldn't get out of the partially sunk part, or
yeah, I'm not sure exactly what.
I feel like if you're only partially sunk, can't you just go to the unsunk part?
Yeah, but they were sideways.
Oh,
I mean, maybe they were older, like
yeah.
people who couldn't quickly.
Yeah. Mm.
But the interesting, and I do remember this. It was big, like all over the news and stuff.
Okay.
But the captain of that boat, it was found, left the ship before like 300 of the passengers got off board. And we all know from Titanic, the captain's the last one to get off the ship, right?
I mean,
You go down with the ship.
is that protocol?
That's protocol.
I didn't know that.
I don't know. It seems to be protocol.
I'm kind of like, you know what? The ship's going down. Everyone get off as quick as you can. I don't know.
So he was actually found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 16 years in prison.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because he abandoned ship?
Well, that and I
like
assume
his
there
neglect
was something that he
of-
did wrong that caused it.
Do we know what he did wrong?
I'm sure it's out there. This isn't the main point of our story,
Right,
so
but
I
I
didn't go
mean-
into depth of it.
More of a general question, not asking if you did.
But I would
know.
assume, yes, there's well-known, documented.
Interesting of what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long story short, how are we connected here? Carnival owned Costa Cruise Lines.
Okay.
And so later on, about a year later, there were civil suits filed against Carnival from some of the family members of the deceased people on the ship.
Mm.
And at that time, a judge essentially said, okay, well, while this is pending, we need to hold some collateral of Carnival's in case they win these cases, because there were millions and millions of dollars, these cases.
So they arrested the
So
ship.
they arrested the ship.
With people on it?
It seems that there actually were, and they let them all disembark. They probably finished whatever, but then they held this ship essentially
Like in prison?
in prison until things were settled,
That's so random.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that?
I guess. So it says that
Weird.
the ship, there was a warrant ordering the ship held, and port states that the court finds that the conditions for an attachment of defendants' joint and collective property within this district, mainly the MS Carnival Triumph, appear to exist upon an admiralty and maritime claim. So there was some kind of sea law that let them arrest the boat.
Yeah,
and
for
hold
sure.
it captive, like pirates.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they did get released and returned to normal sailing later in 2012.
Okay. So they didn't hold it captive for very long.
Nope.
Did they drag it? Like handcuff it?
Yeah, there's giant handcuffs. Went right over the deck.
And drag it somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Or where did they store it?
They built a big cage around it.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. So it was in prison.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. Huge cage.
I am not that gullible.
Big cage.
But what I'm just saying is, where did they put it? Where did they...
And they
Where
just
do you
left it in the port. They just couldn't use it.
This is so interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of being locked in or out, did you say we have a chicken that's locked out?
Oh. I've never checked their door. You know how they're...
I'll have to go check on them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first thing that happened to the ship.
Okay.
But that's not our main story.
Gosh. This poor ship.
Yeah. So on February 7th, the Triumph set sail into the Gulf of Mexico out of Texas.
While it was arrested?
Nope, this is afterwards.
Oh, after.
February 7th,
Okay.
2013.
Okay.
For on a 4-day cruise full of sun, fun, and all the things that you didn't get to do on your cruise with Carnival.
Oh, just rub it in.
So I didn't get to either. So, yep, on a 4-night cruise down to Cozumel.
Ooh, I like Cozumel.
So there's just one port city on this cruise, just a shot across the Gulf of Mexico to Cozumel and then back.
Mm-hmm.
And everything started off really nice. And they got to Cozumel. The people did their stuff. They started heading home. And on February 10th,
Okay.
just before 6 a.m., on the loudspeakers over the ship, you started hearing these 2 words repeated over and over. Alpha team.
Alpha team.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's a great question.
Like code red?
It's like code red. What would happen if I said code red over the loudspeaker? What do you think that means?
Well, in a hospital.
Iceberg? No, because we're in the Gulf of Mexico.
I mean, in a hospital, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, there's other codes.
There's all sorts of codes. I don't remember all the codes. We learned all the codes at
Yeah.
one point. I don't use them anymore.
But I'm just thinking, what would alpha team mean? Rock? I don't know.
I was working in a public health clinic once, and they used the actual code system. And I don't remember what the code was. Code blue.
Isn't code blue like flatline? Like bad,
Yeah,
bad,
it
bad?
was a non-responsive patient. And it was actually my patient. Like they were code bluing me. And I was just like sitting in the office talking to some of the other dentists. And this is at Chaz up in Deer Park. And like one of the assistants came bursting in. And I was like, oh, like that's me. And I don't even remember what it was now.
But
I mean,
like,
the patient was non-responsive, but it wasn't, they had fainted or something, you know, like it wasn't, no, it wasn't fainting. It was something medical, but not, I don't remember now. We got him back. We didn't lose him in the dental chair.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Weird.
But I remember thinking like, oh, you guys use these code things. I haven't done this in school.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But so Alpha Team, I believe it's just Carnival's code. I don't think it's a universal code, but it is code for fire. And so just before 6 a.m., there was a fire on the ship.
Okay, that's bad.
Yes. So the passengers on the first two decks opened their doors to find smoke filling the hallways.
Wonderful.
Now,
It's like my literal worst nightmare.
yeah, you probably don't want to see smoke when you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So what do?
You freak out and panic.
That's what most people probably do. That's probably not what they want you to do.
You take deep breaths and you say, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Follow me this way.
Yeah.
Did
So
that work?
The passengers started running around and scrambling and going to the muster stations.
The mustard?
Muster, where the lifeboats are.
That's called a muster station?
Correct. You'll learn all about it when you get to go on your cruise.
A muster?
Yeah.
Like M-U-S-T-E-R?
I believe that's the spelling. I don't have my phone. I'd look it up.
Huh. Very strange. I've never heard that before.
Well, we're not maritime people. We're land people.
Just like I never knew what a fuselage was before you told me.
That's just a you thing.
No. You said that to me 10 years ago when I realized we were watching Lost, I think.
Probably.
And they said something like fuselage, and I was like, I don't know what that is. You think that's just a me thing, but we are land people. That's an air thing.
That's true, but planes generally come from the land, not the ocean.
Either way, they're air things.
But air things are more closely associated with land things than water things.
Wah, wah.
Anywho, so yeah, people were like, uh-oh, our ship's on fire. We better get to the lifeboats, which I think is a reasonable reaction.
Oh, yeah, at the muster
At
station.
the muster station. Not the mustard, not at the sandwich bar.
Right. That's literally what I thought you said, though.
Yeah. Other passengers could also see black smoke billowing out of the big steam or the big smokestacks.
But isn't that supposed to be a thing?
Most things don't burn black.
Oh, I guess.
Blacks usually means you're burning some kind of hydrocarbon.
Yeah. I guess I see what you're saying. Is the blackness that's freaking them out. Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, people are trying to freak out a little bit. There were announcements like issuing them to stay calm. But people, generally don't like when their ship is on fire.
Strange. It's really strange.
Yeah.
I think
know.
it would just be dreamy.
You'd think that, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never experienced it, but from these people's reactions, it's
One
not
could
cool.
imagine. Yeah.
So like I said, the Carnival employees did make an announcement. that there was a situation in the engine room, namely a fire, but that it had been taken care of. There was no need to go to the lifeboats or put on your life jackets, and to please return to your cabins. So, situation number 2 on the boat. We've had a fire. Now, it's pretty cool. The engine room actually has a self-containing unit where it automatically puts out the fire. It like locks itself up and puts the fire out.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it worked.
Well, great.
Yes. So, everyone heads back to their rooms. Crisis avoided.
Yay.
Until all of a sudden the light starts flickering and then the ship loses its power.
Oh. That is maybe worse.
And so now you're like, I am in a dark cabin. Well, it's actually probably light because it's almost 6 a.m. But if you're in an inside cabin,
I would literally.
It's like, it's
so
very
when you
quiet
were,
and very dark all of a sudden.
Well, when you were saying a fire, I was like, that's my worst nightmare. And now when you're saying the power, I'm like, that's my worst nightmare.
There you go. So there had been a fire in the engine room.
Mm-hmm.
It had been put out by 6:08 in the morning. So it's pretty quick term events here, about a half an hour from first, what was the word I said?
Muster.
No, the alpha.
Code.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
To the fire being put out, the engine room had extinguished its own fire. So that was cool. But the fire had knocked out the power to the ship and the propulsion system. So they were just floating aimlessly in the ocean.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Now, the ship had 3,143 passengers on board.
Oh, my gosh.
And 1,100 staff members on board. That's a lot of people to take care of when you have zero power.
I can't even. This happened in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But there was no need to panic because there was a plan. 2 tugboats were on their way.
To pull the big ship?
And they were going to pull the big ship to Progreso, Mexico. Good old Progreso.
I like progressive.
Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is obviously not a port that was on the scheduled plan.
Oh,
here.
well, I thought I was going on the cruise that went to Progreso.
No, you weren't.
I felt like that was, one of the more common ports.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just kidding.
So it was Sunday, and the plan was to have the ship in Mexico by Tuesday. Like that was the new plan. Now you have to remember they were already on their way back home on just a 4-day cruise when this happened. So they're heading back to Galveston, but now they have to be tugged to Mexico.
Oh, they're going backwards, like away.
They're going away, and it's going to take them an extra couple days to get there. And so imagine being on this ship where you're like, oh, I'm supposed to get home on, let's say, Monday.
Right.
Now it's going to be Wednesday where I'm dropped off in Mexico.
Right.
Not only am I getting dropped off in Mexico, I'm being dropped off in Mexico in a place that I don't. This is never a plan part of where I should be going.
Right.
They just have a port big enough to take the ship.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. 900 of the 3,100 passengers did not have passports.
Can you go on a cruise without a passport?
So maybe you can if you're not getting off the ship. I don't know how it works.
So when you port, you couldn't leave the ship?
Well, I think sometimes you can prearrange. I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like when we go, we won't need our passports because of the way the ship works. But you've already registered your passport with the cruise line, right?
Right.
So I don't know if these people just never, couldn't get off. They just had to stay on board during the Cozumel day.
Yeah. Interesting.
But now you definitely have an issue if you are one of the 900, a third of the ship that don't have a passport being dropped off in a foreign country with no plan on how you're getting, home.
I would assume the company would take care of that.
I would assume so too, but it's still got to be something that you're wondering about.
For sure.
So as the passengers start coming to grips with the new situation they find themselves in, new fun little things, realizations start popping up pretty quickly. For example, with no power, they now have no air conditioning.
Oh, gross.
And you're floating around in the Caribbean. It got hot real fast.
Oh, gross.
Problem number 2, there's no running water.
Yeah.
Problem 3, there's no elevators. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but you remember these cruise ships are like 10-story tall. And, and you might be on the first floor and the closest restaurant's on floor 7.
Right.
If you're a 65-year-old, 70-year-old overweight woman or guy, and you got to climb 7 flights of stairs to get to food, like that could be really hard.
You just don't get your food.
Yeah. Room service.
In the dark.
In the dark.
No, but I mean, I was just thinking, you just choose to, not maybe, I don't know. I guess if that's your only food option.
Yeah, what else
but
you
it's
do?
only how many days?
2 days.
2 days. You fast for 2 days.
Yeah. Maybe.
You let yourself get a little hangry.
I would assume there are a lot of things that are going to get you hangry in this situation.
Yeah.
The other thing they quickly realized, though, is the septic system had failed.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about you saying.
And that became really apparent to a lot of passengers when their toilets wouldn't flush.
Yeah. Again, if you don't eat, then you don't really go to the bathroom so much. So you just kind of cut back on everything for a couple of days.
Yeah. Well, luckily the crew had an announcement or a plan for this as well.
Yeah?
And they made an announcement.
Oh.
That if you had to pee, which normally you do from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of how...
Please pee in the shower. Well, not in the shower like you're showering. Just pee down the shower drain.
Okay, I like it.
That sounds doable. But when you need to poo, that's trickier. You can't poo down the shower drain.
Nope, you can't.
So they delivered every cabin red bags.
Red.
They said, please poo in the red bags.
I like it.
And then we'll put bins in the hallways and you can just dump it off in the hallways.
So...
Yeah, go through all the thought processes
Well,
here.
how do you hold a poo bag? Like with a dog, you wait for the dog to poop and then you pick it up. So like, is there a poop spot and then you pick it up? Because it's
that would be one way to do it.
Really hard to hold a bag appropriately enough to be able to catch your own poop. I would imagine. I've never tried this before.
I would assume the biohazard bags aren't enormous in size.
Right. So
yeah,
like I'm thinking of a dog poop bag,
Yeah.
literally like that size.
That would be challenging
So it's
to hold.
like, hey, honey, I'll hold your poop bag while you hold mine.
Maybe.
Well, really, how does this work?
I'm not sure. I haven't really gone through the logistics.
I mean, but isn't that a logistical question?
It's a very solid logistical question.
I maybe could be able to hold, but you can't just hold it with one hand.
No.
I mean,
You need a double hander.
Yeah. So.
Or you could pick a designated area and then pick it up like a dog.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to do it, I would think.
Yeah. I'm not sure how everyone
Like you poop in the corner of the shower and then pick it up.
Yeah. And then tie it and put it in the hallway.
Oh, it's gonna
in
be
your non-air conditioned
stinky
ship floating aimlessly in the Caribbean.
But imagine it's only 2 days.
It's only 2 days.
And again, if everyone's going to just kind of chill out and cut back and not eat as much food, there won't be as much pooping. I mean, it can be done.
It can be done.
So nasty.
Let's see how it goes.
Oh, I'm terrified.
So,
okay, I don't actually want you telling me this story because I'm supposed to go on one in September.
Yeah. But at least if yours breaks down, you'll be in Alaska. It'll be a lot cooler.
Can you change the story like mid-script? Can you just like a whole new one right now?
Woke up from a bad dream.
And then we're going to do a different one.
Yeah. No, we got to keep going.
Oh, I don't want to know. Okay.
Hey, no one's dying in a...
This is not funny, by the way.
I think it's pretty funny.
Oh, it's so nasty.
So, poop's always funny.
No, only if you're like a 12, like our particular kid's age, and down.
I'm almost 40. I picked the story, so that was pretty funny.
Okay.
So you're in a ship. It's miserably hot. You've got clogged toilets. You've got poop-filled bags in the hallways. And here's another one for you, all right? A little wing dinger here.
A wing dinger. Okay.
Another thing that was damaged in the lack of power were the ship's stabilizers.
I don't really know what that is.
So
I mean, I'm
cruise
assuming
ships have big stabilizers under the water that keep the ship from listing back and forth, from rocking
Oh.
left and right.
Like, what does this look like? Like a fin? Like a big...
Yeah, kind of like a big wing-ish fin that they can put out and help control.
And they do that while they're driving or only if they're stationary?
No, I believe they do it while they're driving too.
Oh.
It's under the water.
So no one would ever see them.
Right.
Interesting.
But think of it like a pontoon almost,
Right.
Or like a wing that keeps it from going.
Ugh. So there's not only going to be, there's going to be seasickness with vomit.
So the ship was definitely rocking way more than it normally did.
Yeah, here comes
I actually
vomit.
believe the correct word is listing. I think when it goes left and right, it's listing.
Listing and muster
Yeah.
room? Muster station.
So at times it would get so bad that passengers claimed they'd actually have to hold on to walls or objects to keep from.
Ugh.
Now that's not all the time, just sometimes.
Okay, so you know the song by Taylor Swift, Shake It Off.
I do know that song.
The only thing that keeps coming through my head is sleep it off. Sleep it off.
Yeah, what else do you
sleep
do,
it
right?
off. Sleep. You could just lay down and go to
Yeah.
sleep and literally try to sleep for 2 days.
So I will say the Carnival staff, who obviously had nothing to do with this, did do a really good job trying to keep people's morale up.
Delivering melatonin.
Maybe. There were like big sing-along parties. They organized huge bingo games. Like trying to do something to keep people not
freaking out.
Well, I mean, like, if people are busy, then it's easier to keep them happy. When they're just sitting there, then, you get angry.
Yeah.
So, but with all that swaying, sometimes that caused the overflow toilets to leak.
Oh, gosh.
Because you have drains that are low points, but when the ship lifts way off to the side, those low points aren't low points anymore.
No.
And so you begin having raw sewage flowing back out of the non-working septic system.
No.
So some of the cabins would find that their carpets were saturated with sewage water.
Okay, I am going to vomit. I'm like going to start dry heaving.
Others found it came through the walls of their cabin.
This is the most disgusting thing ever.
And you have to remember, we're in the Caribbean. It's real hot. And so the whole internal part of the ship became this festering sewage nastiness.
Oh my gosh.
Like you wouldn't be able to breathe in there, man. Like the smell of ammonia. Ugh.
Gross.
So a lot of the passengers began taking their mattresses and throwing them out on the decks and sleeping outside on the decks.
I would too.
And the swim decks actually became what was known as Tent City. So people would put mattresses all over on the swim decks, and then they would take their sheets and towels and would make like covers.
Yeah.
And then almost make like little apartments all over the boat on the outside.
Like the homeless level.
The homeless here in town would have been jealous of this tent city. It was pretty nice. So after this was going on for a little bit, Carnival decided that they made a really dumb choice.
Okay.
They decided that they were going to help appease all the angry passengers by having an open bar from noon or from afternoon till midnight on Monday.
Okay.
Which is just a marvelous idea.
Yeah.
In a situation like this, let's just get everyone drunk.
Oh, yeah, because that won't cause any problems.
Yeah. It did cause problems, actually.
No?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. They found people were starting to throw things off the ship.
Shocking.
And a few of the bathrooms that were already not in working order got destroyed by people who were probably angry about the bathrooms not working.
Right.
So the open bar night lasted for less than 2 hours before they decided.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, angry drunk people in a floating petri dish probably wasn't the greatest idea.
Yeah, no kidding.
So on Tuesday, day 3,
They're supposed to be there,
they're
right?
supposed to be there. The tugboats finally arrive.
Oh. Wait, I thought they were already supposed to be being tugged.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, okay.
But when they get there, they find out that there's more bad news.
Oh.
Because during their couple days here,
Mm-hmm.
the ship has drifted 90 miles north from where they thought they would be.
That's a long way.
And so now they decide it's actually better to pull them to Mobile, Alabama,
What?
rather than back to Mexico. Now,
Okay.
it's a little farther, but at least you're going the right way now.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
guess.
this means another 2 days on the ship.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes. Now, for one passenger, a lady by the name of Rachel Alderete, maybe?
Okay.
This was a huge problem for her because she needed dialysis. She wasn't supposed to be on this ship for this long. And so...
she needs to be like life flighted out or
yeah,
something.
so actually she was, I believe, the only person who got off the boat early.
Yeah.
The U.S. Coast Guard came
And got
and
her.
got her. It wasn't easy
Well, no.
getting her off the ship
I'm
and
sure
onto
not.
their ship. And then she was taken back to Cozumel for dialysis in a Mexican hospital.
Ooh, that's got to be dreamy. Like my dream right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of those places are great.
Sure.
Some are not.
Yeah, but
I'm sure you just go where they take you.
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But she lived.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
that's good. But those kind of things can pop up really quickly, you know? Like, remember a couple years ago when with your family we rented a cabin up in Kalispell, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back and worked, and then I was coming back out to meet you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And how far away is Kalispell? 4 hours?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like an hour into the trip, and all of a sudden, the freeway comes to just a dead stop. And I'm like, oh, this is lame. You know, and you assume you're going to wait a few minutes, and then it's going to keep going, right?
Right.
Well, I was there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just sitting. Well, I wasn't even sitting. At this point, everyone's out of their cars. They're walking all up and down the freeway. It was backed up for miles and
People
miles
are
and miles.
helping people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what had happened was there was construction on Lookout Pass, which was the pass over the mountain. It was down to one lane. A van, if I remember right, hit a semi-truck head on. There was fatalities.
There was flames.
And then they caught on fire. So they had fatalities in the crash. Plus, it started a forest fire or a brush fire.
I mean, there was just so many.
Yeah, so there was just, the pass was closed for like 30 hours.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't know what's going on. There's no cell service out there. Like, you're in the middle of nowhere. But I remember thinking, like, people are going to legitimately have emergencies out here. Like, you're not planning on me sitting on a freeway for a day.
Right.
And a lot of locals were really cool. They were coming by on four-wheelers with bottles of water, and
That's really nice of them.
because you can't get off the freeway.
No.
There's nowhere to go. Like, you
right.
physically cannot get off the freeway.
Right.
And so, yeah, when you have unexpected situations like this for someone with like dialysis, I mean, what if you were pregnant and you're stuck in this car pilot for 24 hours? You know, what if you're
You get on the like in labor, you get on
Right.
like, the median, and I don't even know.
right? So, I eventually we could creep like a couple inches every once in a while, and I got off on the first exit,
Yeah, you did.
not having any idea where I was.
Right.
And then just worked my way through little mining roads. It took
I remember this.
hours. I got there like 1 a.m.
Yeah, after a full day of work too. That was crazy. That was lots.
But excuse me. Things like that happen, right?
Yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
they happen on this ship too.
Obviously, yeah.
And so another issue with the ship is they're also running out of food. like you're planning on a 4-day cruise,
Right.
not an 8-day cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And so so when it first happened, the first fire happened, people actually were stockpiling food. And some of the buffets and some of the restaurants all of a sudden became like 2.5-hour waits. Like you couldn't get in because people were just loading up anything they could, not knowing what was going to happen.
Weird. That is weird.
But at this point, there was really like no food.
Right.
And no way to prepare food.
Right.
And so the passengers were waiting in long lines for guess what?
Food.
But guess what kind of food they were eating?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Porridge?
Cold cucumber and onion sandwiches. That's what they had.
Well, there you have it. That's better than
it doesn't sound terrible.
Oh, my brother used to make a cucumber and green pepper sandwich
So he would have loved it. He probably would have picked that.
with butter. Or maybe mayonnaise. No, just butter. I don't know. I was like, ugh.
Can you imagine being on this cruise with our kids?
Oh, it'd be a living nightmare.
It'd be so terrible. It would be terrible if you and I were on the cruise.
You would never be able to sleep. Ever. They'd all be freaking out and whining and complaining.
They'd be so angry all the time.
Oof.
It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, you're really freaking me out.
Yeah, it would not be good. So there were a couple times, I believe 3 other Carnival ships were able to get come by and get close enough that they could get some supplies to them.
Oh, interesting.
So that was cool.
That is cool.
Like big other cruise ships.
That's kind of terrifying, though.
Well, they would get like close enough, and then they would get on their little like boats that run to shore and stuff, and then run supplies over.
I was like picturing them like bump up next
Yeah.
to each other.
in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I don't think it works that
That
way.
would not work well, probably. So they were getting some stuff that way. The other thing was the tugboats. This, you might find this surprising. They're not designed to tug these kind of giant ships in the open ocean.
Well, that's why when you said that, I was like, there must be some giant tugboat out there meant for cruise ships. Like I was thinking most normal tugboats do not do cruise ships.
Correct.
So I was thinking, they must have kind of like emergency tugboats for cruise ships in these situations. Like, per coastline, probably like, 2 or 3 or something, like nothing major.
So they do have specialized open ocean tugboats.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they're built to be out on sea. But even then, they're not built to pull these kind of mega ships. And so guess how fast the tugboats could drive pulling the ship?
Oh, I mean, those real tugboats are not going fast at all. So I'm assuming about the same, like 2 miles an hour? 1? I don't even know.
Way faster. 5 miles an hour.
Whoa, 5. Okay.
5 miles an hour.
Way
Way
faster. Yeah.
And considering you've got a few hundred miles to get back to land.
And the thing is, they're going to run out of gas,
The tugboats?
aren't they?
I mean, maybe they have some other way. Maybe other ships come and refuel them. I don't know.
Can they pull 24/7, like on shift work with like another person, so they're never not pulling?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they did have a couple times when the lines snapped that were hooked to the cruise ships.
I mean, yeah.
And so it was not ideal. How about that?
Now
the media caught wind of this, and this was actually a really big ordeal as well. Like they had 24-hour news coverage.
I still don't understand what this has to do with the one in Europe.
This doesn't have anything to do with the one in Europe now.
Oh, except for
They were owned by Carnival.
they were just owned by Carnival. Okay.
Yes.
That was the only
So
connection.
there were like helicopters from like the media that were like circling the ship and like getting footage. And the people on board have no idea like that they're being talked about
of course
all
not.
over.
Yeah.
The poop cruise. That's what it was known as.
Really?
Yeah.
In real life?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
So on Wednesday, day 4 of the poop cruise, that's not part of the normal cruise. This is day 4 of poop cruise.
Right. Okay.
Day 7 or 8 or whatever, real cruise.
Of the real cruise?
They had to take down their tent city on the decks, and people didn't like that at all.
Why?
Because a helicopter, a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, was going to land on the deck and bring supplies and mega generators.
For 4,000 people?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they did. Now, obviously, these generators couldn't run the whole ship, but they were able to get some of the kitchen up and running so they could have hot food. With the new food they brought in, they were able to set up like charging stations so that people could charge their phones and communicate with people back at home. They were able to get some of the bathrooms working again. So
very important.
Very important. And so that was good.
Yeah, that's good.
So after all this time, they finally, you're pulling in and you can see the land. You can see Alabama.
Bama. Oh, baby.
I mean, how excited are you at that point?
Oh, literally, I would be crying happy tears, honest to goodness.
Yeah, like you can't wait to get off of this ship. Like, you know, when you land after a long flight and you're towards like the back of the plane and you're just like, hurry up, people, and get off this.
I'm the same way
plane.
on like the road trip up to Canada. Like the last little bit, I'm like, hurry up and just get there.
Yeah. So that's what happened to these folks. You know, they're pulling up to the port in Mobile. I don't know how they say it in Alabama. And the problem was this port is not built for cruise ships. It's not built for giant ships like this.
Don't you think that they knew that when they suggested?
Well, they know that, okay, so it's deep enough channel. It's big enough for the boat, but it's not built for the boat.
Okay.
Like, you know, where we moor our boat, you could bring a huge yacht there, but it's not designed for that.
Right. I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
And so it takes the ship 6 hours to park. If you can see Anthony's face right now,
I would be
like
dying.
Like, it's right there.
Oh my god.
It's right there.
I'd literally like jump ship and just swim. I'm not even kidding.
Where they have to do all these super small moves and with these other tugboats pushing and pulling and
it's like when you get on your airplane and after it's been delayed and you get on and then they're like, oh, we're going to just be waiting on the runway. We're going to taxi here for a little bit longer. And it's like another hour and it's straight up torture. Like just leave me in the airport until you are certain that
we're ready to go.
That we are ready to go.
Because you're never actually taxing,
because it's
right?
worse.
Oh, so much worse.
If you're
especially
loaded.
when you're like me and you're 6'4".
Yeah, it's like so uncomfortable. Okay, sorry. Yeah. That is
6 hours.
So terrible.
Like there's nothing you want more than to get off this ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how long it's going to take. Like after 2 hours, you're like, okay, we done now? And 4 hours. Okay, like are we ever going to get off this stupid thing?
Yeah, that's a long time. Oh my gosh.
But 10 p.m. on Thursday, they finally land.
They made it.
They port. And they get off. Now, when you and I had to cancel our trip, we got nothing back from Carnival. Zero.
I'm sure these people got like 17 free cruises.
We never even heard back from Carnival other than, don't expect to hear back from us.
Yeah, basically.
This is what they got for their poop cruise.
Okay.
$500 each.
Okay.
A flight home.
Okay.
Full refund.
Okay.
And a credit for another cruise. That's your trade-off for the poop cruise.
It'd be a tough one. I don't know. So can you fix a ship that has like soaked in sewage and
That's a good question.
Stuff on the walls?
We'll get there in a minute, okay?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So.
They made it, though.
They made it. Now, to top it off.
Oh, no. No.
So they've arranged flights for everyone home, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the buses is taking a bunch of passengers to, they're driving to New Orleans and flying out of New Orleans.
Okay.
The bus breaks down and they all miss their flights.
Are you kidding me?
Can you imagine being one of those people? After all that, your bus breaks down.
Oh, I would weep. 100% weep.
A lot of weeping and wailing.
And you're just like, why me? Okay, so full-on canceling versus the poop cruise, 100% I would take what I got.
Yeah.
Like,
Poop cruise sounds not fun.
oh, if it sounds terrible, 100% terrible, than like being able to be canceled, lose that money, but be at my home.
Where your toilets work.
Yeah, and the smell and the heat and the food and the 6-hour parking job. I mean, what in the world? No.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Wow.
So everyone gets off. They finally get home.
Right.
Now, while the ship is in port in good old Mobile in Alabama, they did have huge winds one night come up on April 3rd. And the boat is actually unhooked from its moorings.
Don't you moor that thing with like 35 ropes?
I mean, I don't know how you moor colossal city ship.
Sure. So, but even then,
But you would think it would be...
there's going to be enough other ropes.
It's not like when we do our boat. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to wrap this around a few times and make up a knot. And,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
and so it broke free. And then it moved across the harbor. And it ran into a Army Corps of Engineers vessel. And put a good 20-foot hole in the side of it into the cruise ship.
Did it sink?
Did not sink. No, it was above the water. And it actually caused another part of the dock to break. And actually, a guy died, drowned, falling in the water in these huge gale force winds and stuff. But so to fix that and the fire and the poop damage and all that, cost $115 million.
Oh my gosh, this is so
I
terrible.
don't know if essentially just gutting it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, at least all the cabins.
Yeah.
And the kitchen's probably fine and things like
Right,
that, you know?
but those would be so rank.
Yeah. Be real gross.
This is just a lot.
So it cost $115 million to fix the ship. And then in 2019, so about 6 years later, they spent another $200 million and completely overhauled it. And that's when they renamed it the Sunrise. So it still sails to this day. If you take a Carnival cruise on the Sunrise, you're on the poop cruise. It may not look that way anymore.
They only
but it's
have
the
one?
poop. One Sunrise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So now for you listening,
I thought it was homed out of Miami, but it might be out of Texas.
that is crazy. Don't take the Sunrise cruise ship. Don't choose it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And you're going to wish
if
that
you
your ignorance
did,
was bliss.
you'll be, like part of history. It's like on like a famous ship, the poop cruise ship.
I'll pass. I'm a hard pass. I don't care about fame or whatever. No, thank you. Nope. Too much fear that it would happen again, you know?
Yeah.
So, wow.
And Ethne is a firm not interested in poop cruise.
Firm. 100% firm. I wonder if anyone else out there is on my same
So I think
on
a
the
lot of
same
people
boat as me.
would be on your same boat. Good dad joke.
I'm a mom. I'm a mom.
Good mom joke.
Yeah.
But here's the question. If you could walk into it ahead of time, here's the trade-off.
Okay.
You get 75% of your normal cruise. You get a couple days at sea, and you get your day at Cozumel. But then you have to endure the poop cruise. But you know that you're going to get $500. You don't have to pay for any of this that you did, and you're going to get another cruise. I bet you a lot of people would sign up for it ahead of time.
Well, sure, if you have the choice, there's something in that gives you that.
I can handle this.
Yeah. I can handle this. Gives you that sense of, yeah. But
for me, the worst part, I mean, all of that sounds terrible. It would be stressing out about, like, I got to be back for work. I got to be back for this. Like,
yeah.
when is this going to end? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, and I'm also wondering if, like, maybe the cruise line said, said, well, hey, we'll reimburse you wages. And, like, I mean,
they did announce what they were going to do for them, I know, before they got home. And like I said, they did do a fair amount of
trying to rally.
Trying to do things. And the passengers for the most part, did a pretty good job. They would like made up like church services.
Well,
they did made up like sing-alongs.
They don't have many options.
They don't have a lot of options, but that's at least better than just sitting moping around complaining.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Which a lot of people I think would be their natural instinct.
Right.
To just be angry the whole time, and
for sure.
Justifiably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Justifiably, but still, yeah. Kind of making.
But you can find something to keep yourself busy.
Situation. Yeah. Gosh, that is so terrible. No, thank you to the poop cruise.
Yeah, but you can go find a lot of really gross videos.
I have no desire, but yeah, you would, because there'd be a lot of footage because it was pretty recent. A lot of the stories that you do talk about don't. There's not a lot of information on the internet per se. So wow. Well, that's so nasty, and not necessarily funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's like a gross one, which is totally fine. It's still a lot better than being like morose and stuff like that, but still just like heebie-jeebies and like, ugh, like dry heaving kind ofness. Ugh.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
I know. Yeah, your sense of humor and mine are probably different, but I mean, you just laugh away.
Yeah. I'm laughing inside right now.
Right now.
At the poop cruise.
Yeah, the poop cruise. Yeah. Well, I hope no one ever needs to go or be on anything like the poop cruise.
I hope we're not on the Alaskan poop cruise.
Oh gosh, Mike, stop. You have to stop talking about this. I literally am like, no, we are not talking about it. I already think something bad's going to happen. We're not going to go. So.
All righty.
Don't even. But.
I will not say anything.
All right.
All righty, everybody. Will you go ponder on the poop cruise? Tell us what you think about it.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful week.
Would you do it again if you knew it was happening in advance? Would you do it for all the stuff that you get? That's the question.
Text us. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Push the link on there.
All righty.
Everyone have a wonderful week and enjoy yourselves. Hope you had a good Canada Day and 4th of July, because I believe this won't come out until after then.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you all next week.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.